that mocked them, and the heart that fed. On this pedestal, these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains, brown the decay, and of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sun stretched far away. Now this excerpt from Percy Shelley's timeless poem Ozymandias is how we begin today's episode of the Booth Talkshow, brought to you by Phronesis Media Gh. Now on this show, we bring you discussions with brilliant minds this generation has to offer. My name is Nana Adjoa Dubai, and I'm very much excited to be here today to bring you another episode specially made for you. This episode actually revolves around a vibrant artistic theme. Yes, every music lover can relate to this. I'm talking about poetry. I'll be right back after this break to have more discussions with my guests. Stay tuned. You're welcome back. Poetry is timeless. I mean, the Epic of Sundiata, the Iliad and Odyssey, Ozymandias, as well as Dante's Inferno are all examples of ancient poems that people still love and recite till date. I mean, these authors put in their lives and experiences to make these into masterpieces. Is it the same as the modern day poetry? I mean, sometimes we catch glimpses of incredible wordplay in rap verses, rhymes of good music in reggae music, as well as gospel spoken word, which is breaking the internet nowadays. But do they have the same feel and depth as the classical poetry? Do they touch lives and hearts as the ancient poems? And will they be able to survive this generation for posterity? To help us with the discussion on poetry today is a very talented young man who is a student in KNUST. He is a spoken word artist and an artist as well as a poet. He goes by the name Megborna. It means I'm coming, right?
Yeah,
I'm coming, okay. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Are you ready to have an interaction with me? I mean, you have to educate me more on poetry because I don't know anything about that.
I'm ever ready. Any opportunity I get to talk about poetry, spoken word, I'm always ready. Sure.
Anyways, I saw your performance at the 2019 Tech Smarter show, and I must admit it was incredible. What inspires you to come up with such beautiful performances?
Usually, for the very one you witnessed, I got to do so much with myself and then the people around me at the time I was writing the poem. So I wrote the poem looking at the people in mind. So I'm looking at who are those affected, whose stories am I seeing, and more importantly too, I bring out the element of relatability, because if you don't relate to it, then I'm not doing nothing. So I paid so much attention to that. I would say that is an inspiration. If any other thing should be, I would say that is one of the key inspirations here. The people around me, the stories they tell that I tell, the things we are going through. I look at all those things that I write. Yes.
Well, let's go back to your name. What's the origin of your name? I know it's an Ewe name, but what inspired you to use that particular name as your stage name?
Okay, Megborna. Yeah. So that wasn't the intention when I started this some years back. When I started some years back to go into it full time, I was looking at a name that represents me. Okay. So I didn't let the process decide the name for me, so I chose a name myself. Okay. And of the names I could choose, I chose Sepulga, and that's my initial CEP, that is Chris Edgeji Parker. So I made it Sep, and then the Sepulga happened to be my surname. I brought it in, so it became Sepulga. So that was the name I started with, and along the line, people call you Seth, some say Seth, some say Seth, and you realize it all doesn't build up to the brand you're putting across. But then along the line, a catchphrase came. Everyone was like, yo, we did do this poetry thing, the people reading them stats, they come on, people they do music and things where you still did, and I tell them, oh, it's no race, I'm still on my way coming. So eventually it became something I wanted to put across to my audience. When I'm on stage, they were like, if I say let them know, they respond, I'm coming. So over time, people forgot all the other names I had, and they were just following the Megborna. So I realized, okay, this is the process now speaking to me. I should listen. Okay. So I rebranded to Megborna.
Okay. Now, can you tell me? I know you're a student, so can you tell me how you're able to combine your academic work with this? Because I know it's a full-time job, right? So how do you combine both?
First thing is, sacrifice.
Okay.
You need to know the many other things you sacrifice just to be very good at the two other things you want to do. So in my case, it is spoken word and then schooling. So it means I need to sacrifice any other passion of mine. I love to skate. Yes, I love to skate. I love to
Skating
swim.
in Ghana.
Yes, you see, I had passion for all those other things I was good at. But looking at where I am now and how far I want to go with the things I'm doing, I had to sacrifice a lot of stuff. And also with the school and then the spoken word, sometimes you have to look at what is worth sacrificing for the other. So there are times I have to skip lectures or presentations that I have to do just because I have a spoken word show. And there are some spoken word programs that I can't be on because I need to be in school at this particular point in time. So again, it's all got to do with knowing you, understanding your strengths and how you want to balance yourself.
Okay.
So yeah, these are some of the things. That's how I balance mine.
So I want to know how this all started. Did it start from childhood, or can you give me any earliest experiences of the spoken word?
With this, I don't have an exact time that I started doing spoken word or poetry because I got to know that I got to know that it's something we call spoken word only 6 years ago. So I used to see people do stuff like that. We used to do.
You know what it was?
Yeah, we used to do recitals at schools and churches. I remember one of the earliest memories I have. I was in class 2, and we had to recite a poem for our vacation day, and our parents were around it. The poem was quite from the Chinese saying that if you give a man a fish, he'll have a single meal. If you teach him how to fish, he'll fish all his life. Then it goes on. So I remembered only the first line, and then everything else was blank. And I was on stage.
You had to improvise.
So I just started talking. I didn't know what I was doing because I was also young.
Okay.
And then there was no one around me to later on call me and say, yo, this is what you are doing. This is the path I see you taking. You should pay more attention to it. You know, we don't have all these things along the line. So it becomes hard for us to identify when something we are passionate about exactly starts and if it's been documented or not. So I would say I started doing it professionally 6 years ago.
Okay.
So I would say I became conscious of it 6 years ago.
Okay. So from your earlier answers, you said you draw inspirations from the people around you. I want to know how the support has been like so far. Do you get support from your friends, your family? Are there people discouraging you? Are there people telling you to push further in this career?
I'll say yes. It's no different from any other field.
Okay.
Such that if you're passionate about modeling and you want to model, your parents may want you to go to school.
Yeah.
They may eventually come to see with you also. But then a lot of other factors are also underplaying. And it's the same thing with spoken word and poetry in Ghana. I would say I have friends who appreciate the fact that I'm doing spoken word and it's catching fire now, but that is all there is to it. I have friends who would rather give me an advice or not patronize what I do. And I have friends also who are diehard friends who will be there for me from day one. Yeah. It's all got to do with you, the person pursuing it. Like no one sees the grand picture than you. So it's up to you to make them see it. And how would they see it when it's not giving you the results? So support counts, support goes, but without support, what are we willing to do for our own craft? Yeah, so that's it. That's it for me.
So we've learned so much about Megborna as a person. Now let's hear what he has to say right after this break. This is the Booth Talkshow. Stay tuned. You're welcome back. This is the Booth Talkshow brought to you by Phronesis Media Gh. Today I'm hanging out with Megborna and we are discussing poetry. Megborna, can you educate me on certain things? Do you think modern day poetry can be compared to ancient poetry? I mean, when we talk about ancient poetry, we talk about Shakespeare with the love words and the vows and all that. Can we compare modern poetry to the ancient one?
First of all, I'll say it's very important we understand what modern poetry itself is and what ancient poetry, as you say, it is. If I understand it correctly, the ancient poetry in your case is the ones that came within the times of Shakespeare, those writings, and the modern one would mean something like what we are calling spoken word today, if I get you right. I would say it's very important also to look at the times within which they came and then the movements around that era. You know, funny enough, poetry has always been a very integral part of art in itself. So when you look at the various art movements that came to pass, there was a poetry element to it. So when you look at Dadaism and the Dada movement, art movement, there were Dadaists who were poets who wrote a lot of stuff. If you read the Communist Manifesto, that in itself, it's poetry. Understand? So it's all got to do with what is happening at the time and what is being captured. So in those days, the ancient poems that people were writing were quite futuristic too, and they were quite abstract. What were people doing at the time? What did people need to hear? We need to look at all these things very critically. I would say the futuristic poems or writings that people did got to do with that time where there would be mobile phones, and that was some 50 years ago. Now so there's a deeper appreciation to it for them now in this time, okay? But I can't be talking about something to you and let me say that element that makes it happen in my time. I can't say that element that is making it happen in my time is better than the elements before, because what were the things happening at the time? What were people writing about them? And look at now. What are things happening now, and what are we? So I'll say that they've not lost any relevance as far as the ancient poetry and then the modern poetry. What happens is how we value the themes that are being discussed or being talked about in the poems, the subjects. So for me, now if you talk to me about hustle, reality, the streets of Ghana, I'm a street boy trying to make it in life, trying to make mama proud. I'll relate to it.
More people would actually relate to it.
Because that's our time now. But then if I tell you, I'll fly you over the 7 seas.
I'm not going to take you serious.
Exactly. But then at the time, it made sense to them. I'll sail across the seas. So I'll say, let's understand the times each poem or each poetry is being produced. That's how best we can appreciate them. But there is none superior than the other.
So what makes a good poem? What makes a good poem? Is it the rhythm? Is it the wordplay or anything else?
Good poem?
Yeah. I can put you on the spot if you want.
Metrics vary. Okay. But metrics vary. Okay. For a good poem, I don't know what would be a good poem for someone.
Okay.
And I don't know what would be a good poem for another person. But for me, I'm more into the spoken word aspect. So it's poetry, alright, but then you bring it into the performance space. You are performing it, you are speaking it out. What makes it good then? Because if you write and I read, it is how I understand it, or how I want the words to sound in my mind. But if you are performing it, it means objectively, you want me to see it through your eyes and how you see it. So then I look out for relatability. Do I relate to what you are seeing? Do I vibe with it? I look at your mannerism. You can't talk to me about pain and laughing unless you want to be sarcastic. So if you're talking to me about pain, how well do you paint a picture to me? Because in this case, I'm listening to you, so my mind is the canvas. The words you are saying are the images you are printing onto my mind. Okay. Now it comes through your mouth. I receive through my ears. But then those are just one aspect. There's tiny underlying things also playing roles to your attitude that you recite. So the third one, I'll say, it's attitude. How do you talk about it? What vibe has it got? Like, is it strong? Is it proud? Is it? Yes. Show me attitude. Show me. So those are elements I would consider. Those are elements I would consider in a good poem, in a good spoken word piece. But then there is no metric for it. So people can just do their own thing in their own style, and it will still find grounds. Yes. So yeah, that's what I say.
Does poetry have an influence on our culture as Africans?
Poetry has always had influence on our culture as Africans.
And in what
From
way?
time immemorial, poetry has been very significant because if we want to talk about the exploits of 1882, what medium do you use? Are you not going to brag about him? Are you not going to recite appellations? That is poetry. It is talking about the daily lives of people. And when someone wakes up and is a radio presenter and it's on Good Morning Ghana, the hustle is still in progress. Everybody go out there and dig it, like make it count. It's still poetry.
Yeah, it is. Sounds like it.
There's poetry in our dressing because then we want things to match, or we want them to contrast or to contradict each other. That is poetry. And if you're cooking, it's poetry in cooking.
How?
The way you slice the onion, the way you slice the onion, the way you hold your knife, the way you blend, the way you mix them on the fire. That is poetry. Also, so again, it's got to do with people have traditional mindsets towards things, such that if it is poetry, then it must be rhyme, there must be rhythm. You have to write them down in words. So any other thing that is not, but it's poetry even in the movement of an African woman. So if you listen to songs by some of our oldies, if you listen to songs from Ebo Taylor has a song titled African Woman. And all that he's talking about is African woman get plenty of it. So he's talking about the poetry within just the context of African woman in relation to bottles. Yes, they were all. Yeah. So if they listened and appreciated highlight music, then they appreciated a form of poetry. If you hear people talk, it's a form of poetry. But it wasn't seen in a formal light. But there's been poetry all around us from day one.
So I know you draw inspirations from lots of people. Can you name some of the authors that you draw inspiration from when you are preparing for a spoken word?
Okay, that's a very good question. One, I would decline to answer directly because
I saw that coming.
Yes, because I've drawn inspiration from a lot of people. Even this conversation is inspiring me now. So if I want to mention names, see the number of names I will not mention will be more than the ones I will ever be able to mention. So I would say I've taken inspiration from a lot of them. I've taken inspiration from a lot more that I don't know yet, that I'm yet to encounter. So take inspiration from everyone.
Okay. Well, do you believe in that session that most artists and artists draw pleasure from immoral acts? You know that? Because some people say they gain inspiration in immoral activities and they draw pleasure from those things. Do you believe in that session?
I believe, I don't believe. It's two things, because if someone says he draws his inspiration from immoral act, it works for him. So yes, it is true according to him. But if I try immoral act and I don't get no inspiration from it, then it doesn't work for me. Does that mean I'm right? Does that mean it's wrong? So it depends on the angle at which we are standing and what we are all seeing. But if one wants to write about immoral acts and engages in it and draws inspiration from it, it's okay for the person. If one thinks can better describe a situation by not being in it himself or herself, that's also up to the person. But then true stories, or the best stories, are true stories. And true stories are honest stories, right? Yeah. So that's what people really want to listen to. If I'm listening to you as my favorite rapper, if you have been beaten before, I want to hear you say it in your rap. If you've
suffered before,
yes, if you have clipped someone before, I want to hear you say it in your poem. Then I can relate to it.
That's like, are you trying to incite violence, or?
If that's what the person has done and wants to talk about it, do you call that violence?
Sometimes, because like somebody looks up to you as an idol, and you say you've done this before, and you're always talking about it. Don't you think it's going to incite a form of violence?
I wouldn't say you will incite a form of violence. People are entitled to choices they make. Okay. So if you take me as your role model, what aspects of my life do you want to emulate?
The aspects that makes you a bigger person.
Yeah. I was in a conversation with a friend once, and this issue came up that superheroes, what makes a superhero, should superheroes exist? Then I asked the person to take this guy for instance, Hitler for instance. Was Hitler a successful man?
You don't want to go there.
Was Hitler a successful man?
He was.
Did he achieve his targeted results at the point? So which means you can take Hitler as a role model and relate his desire towards work and results. Not necessarily the motive. So bring that into a different field and apply that, but then change the motive. You get me? But then everyone else is going to brand Hitler as a bad guy. So the things we are supposed to learn from Hitler's life, we don't. Okay, so I want to understand the actions and the processes that went into it, the techniques he applied to be successful in the field, not necessarily the motive. So I think these are things we should objectively look at. Okay. How many Christians would want to have an interaction with a chief priest and appreciate his understanding of God and nature? So how best do we condemn such people or speak for such people? You get me? So until I know exactly what is in the mind of a person, I don't condone the person's actions or not. I'm not inciting violence. You are taking me as a role model. It is up to you to choose what aspects of my life you want to emulate. Okay. So let's trust.
You have a very interesting perspective on each issue.
Very much.
It's quite interesting. Yeah. We are still here with Megborna, and this is the Booth Talkshow brought to you by Phronesis Media Gh. We'll be back right after this break. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Kafwede. Keep watching Phronesis Media, Enlightenment with Thrills.
You're welcome back. We are still hanging out with Megborna, and he's telling us more about poetry. Megborna, I want to know if modern music has lost its poetic nature.
Modern music, poetic nature? No, so much not. There's so much poetic nature and then poetry and then rhythm, flow in modern music. Take trap music for instance. Trap music has a lot of spoken word and poetry elements embedded. It's up to who is really listening to pay close attention to, because if a rapper wants to talk about a daily he had an affair with last night when he was high, the high could be anything in terms of drinks or anything. How is he talking about it? Where does it start from? How does he weave the story for the listener to follow attentively? So I think there's so much poetry in music now than ever, because it's now I'm living in, it's now I know. Now I can speak confidently. So I think so much music comes now with so much poetry, and it's very interesting. So no, it hasn't lost it at all. Not at all. According to me, not at all.
Okay, so I want to know if these modern poets represent the African continent to our satisfaction.
Africa is broad as a continent, so
there are about 53 countries.
Exactly. So there are diverse cultures, and there are cultural appropriations. So if you see an African representing the African culture globally, you have to ask, how well do you yourself know and appreciate African culture? Because Africa is not one state, one jungle where everybody is. Africa is made up of countries. So what culture is who represented at what point? Some parts of Africa may not know the value of cowries. Some may see it as, oh, it's a thing used in the shrine. But as a Ghanaian, there is more to read than that for me. Yes, that's what people use when they consult divinities. But then again, too, it's a form of a currency for us then. So if I use it, I'm associating with God. I'm associating also with the mouthpiece. So being a mouthpiece of a medium, of a people. So I'm taking this out. So for anyone else to first of all talk about it, you need to now understand how many of us even know that to the African, hair has been an integral part of the ancient Africans. So you see a young African boy like myself who has dreads on, the first thing that people talk about is this guy. There's something wrong somewhere. See, so how do people then appreciate their own culture? And it's constantly evolving. So if I go outside and I meet an element, I encounter an element I appreciate, I take it and I mix it with this one. So yeah, we represent it in our own ways. represent it.
So I have a special for you today. I want you to watch a performance by Megborna. He's going to wow you with such performance. Let's take a look.
And yes, we don't hit our chest and call ourselves men. Our boss, they define weight and size. And so it is that the private parts of the old can never be a plaything for a crying baby. But the old should not be quick to forget that although they can skip and out of respect leaves the role for the roosters to play. And so I am one of a kind. You are one of a kind. And you can say that I can manage. You do not find it. The earth may be solid, yet the chameleon takes conscious steps. And you are coming here, you dare the hell, eh? No! The offspring of the tilapia probably a song or a poem to remind me of my homeland, my origin, and my descent. Oh, how I yearn to hear the tales of a land once great and mighty, a land once rich in culture. Tell me the stories of God. For we are the ones. We were the ones who built the world's most finest places. We were the ones who started the civilization of man. We were the indestructibles. We led with the dangers and horrors of the past. And so I walk among here with my head raised high to cry. Sing about the deeds of my people. Herald them with the trumpets of my voice. Write them in my poems, recite them in my poems, and sing them in my songs. For we are the ones. And it is only a man weak enough to pound a piece of warm yam that pretends to drive flies away from it. We are the ones. But you see, history may not remember us. History may not speak about our greatness. It may not speak about our exploits. It may never teach us about our heroes. It may never teach us about our legends in our schools. It may never teach us about Mansa Musa Keita. It may never teach us about Shaka the King. But when it does, we shall be remembered as the one.
Wow, that was incredible. So, Megborna, is poetry economical? Especially in Africa, I mean in Ghana.
If you say does it pay that much,
Yeah, it doesn't pay that much.
It doesn't pay that much yet because they are having a lot of things we must do that we haven't done yet. So it doesn't pay that much yet, but it will pay.
It will pay. You hope that.
Not I hope that the work we are putting in, the things we are doing now, I can assure you, in the next 4 to 5 years, it's going to pay big, very big.
Wait, does the demand already exist, or we now have to?
The demand, yes, the demand exists. We just have to find a way to trigger it to people that they should consume it. The demand already exists. People would always love to hear nice stuff. People want to hear beautiful stuff. Poetry in nature is beautiful, but it can also be scary too, right? It can be ugly too. But then, whichever it comes in or whichever it may be, the thing is, let's make people want to consume it on a regular day. If you tune into a radio station for a whole 24 hours, how many times would they air a spoken word piece or talk about the spoken word piece? If you take a TV station in Ghana, for instance, how many times would they air a spoken word video by Ghanaians in the first place? And all these things are missing.
Are there videos out there?
There are a lot of videos out there, just like the way they pick videos of
music videos
of celebrities who are not even Ghanaians and play.
They could pick
spoken word as well. But then again, the full people don't consume it, so we don't want to flag that on the airwaves while our listeners are watching, because it becomes economical for us too, so we must survive, right? But it is high time we start paying attention to those things. No one will create it for us but ourselves. So this goes to we the poets ourselves. What are we doing also? People come to me and they go like, when I saw your performance the last time, it was wonderful, I write and I want to be a poet. And I look at them and I'm like, you don't want to be a poet. It's just beautiful for you, so you want to do it. So if tomorrow you wake up and there's something more beautiful for you, We'll move into that field.
Yeah.
So when you come and then you do that, you leave and people see you and go like, he said it. This is not a good field. So he left it and he's now working on the man. So I tell people, look within yourself first. I mean, do you think there's something you can do for the growth of spoken word? You need to have people who are constantly blogging about spoken word. You need to have top 10 spoken word charts, people individually running it, we need to have people who are critics, whose job is to listen to spoken word content and then criticize it. So it could be good, it could be bad, but that is their way of critiquing a word. So when we have these things going on, we have people documenting and writing about us and all that is going on now, then although it may not be appreciated now, in the next few years or in the years to come, it becomes a larger thing and the glory in itself is greater. Then the people who come after us will be making a lot more money. There's, excuse me to say, there's so many opportunities now for rappers than there were for rappers in the times of Adjoa Dubai. Okay. Not because they were not good. They were the finest at their time. That was why we still know them till now. But then there were works that had to be done that they sacrificed. And now these people are enjoying, but are also still making sacrifices. Now artists from Ghana are penetrating the US market, the UK market, the European market. The time will come, full-grown artists will be Ghanaians in that market, and they still make it without necessarily having to come to Ghana. So what are we doing for spoken word and poetry? Do we have all those things in progress? How many people who grant spoken word artists interviews? You understand? So these are things that if we want to talk about, we should really address. Yeah.
So what do you think government, private corporations and individuals have to do to make poetry and spoken word a global hit?
Okay, it's global, but for Ghanaians to appreciate it in Ghana.
It's global, but it's not a hit.
No, it's a hit, yeah. It's a hit depending on which part of the global dispensation you are. So if you're in Ghana now, how do you see it as global? If someone is in the UK now being featured on a UK platform, that's big.
Yeah.
You get me? That's very big. But if you're in Ghana being featured on Saturday pub at one corner, I mean it's not big. Although you may kill the performance and wow your audience, but it's not expensive. So what I think we can do collectively as stakeholders, I'm not going to mention names, but as stakeholders, is to visit the round table. Let's look at how well do we make this an art form that sells. Of course, we should go into it knowing very well that it's going to fetch money. Then it becomes a business venture. So we run it like a business venture. If we have show promoters as well, promoting only spoken word shows and are charging big and are delivering on quality, people will want to associate with that. Parents want their children to, because the mother knows that if the child is passionate about it and not supporting, in the next 5 years, this could be a great end. But if those things are not there, we can't work. And it's not for corporation to do for us, it's for all of us to just collectively, if I'm having a spoken word show that is fetching 100 audience, which corporate body organization will want to sponsor. Exactly. But can't I have a show for only 100 people, ticket goes for 500 Ghana cedis, then there's proper content that is delivered for them per their class, and then have another show that is going to fetch in 5,000 or 50,000 audience, ticket goes for 10 cedis, because that also has a particular group of people. You don't see those things that way. So
I think spoken word and poetry should be nominated as part of the Ghana Music Awards.
Yes, we should. I mean, we should have that.
Yeah.
We should have that, because if there's music there, if there's rap there, it's a different realm on its own, which is why it should be included. Or we have a poetry award, spoken word award, so the Ghana Spoken Word Awards. Okay. And if music will not award or reward us, why can't we create something ourselves?
It could be good business. We can start that.
Because I feel a lot of good stuff are going to waste. I've listened to about 3 or 4 spoken word albums from Ghana just this weekend. Not that it was dropped this week.
Albums.
Yes, not that it was dropped this week, but then if I want to tell you the number of times I listened to album, I listened to 4 different albums this week only, and the week is not yet over. So which means people have a lot of works there. My second album is on the way. I have 2 EPs that are down yet to be released there. So we are working. You get me? If we don't put premium on this thing and rewarded. A lot of good works will be lost in the system.
Anyways, we'll have to wrap up the show, but then do you have anything to say to our viewers?
We always tell people the best motivation or the best way to be something is not written in a book. So 5 ways to be rich, all these things, you can read all of them, but there's one thing: if you don't have self-belief, if you're not confident enough to do it yourself, and you don't have the self-discipline, you can read all the best ones out there, you can attend all the best seminars and workshops, but it will still not amount to nothing. So look within yourself, listen to yourself, do the one thing that you're most passionate about, that if you don't have anything to do, have the last thing you do on this earth, find that and then fuel it, and in your own light it will shine. You don't want to shine like the way someone else is shining, because that's them. So yeah, and in this 21st century, this social media age, there's no right formula to making anything, and the road to success, they say, is always gonna be distraction. So go your own way and just hit it hard. So
Incredible. Thank you very much for enlightening us on poetry. You've really taught us a lot today, and you have quite interesting ideas about how to make poetry into a nice business in Ghana. We're very much grateful for gracing our set. Well, this has been the Booth Talkshow, brought to you by Phronesis Media Ghana. Now you can follow Phronesis Media Ghana on all social media platforms, as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel at Phronesis TV Gh. My name is Nana Adjoa Dubai. Stick and stay. I'll bring you another episode on this same channel, same time next week. Until then, stay blessed.